when I kind of knew I was at rock bottom, I had lost about 40 pounds from my original weight, and I had to have all of my mirrors in my apartment turned around because I just could not look at myself. And I knew like that this was not the life that I needed to live or that I was meant to live, but I just couldn't get out of it. And it wasn't until, you know, my family had a little intervention with me until I realized that rehab was a thing and that this was something I could go to and get help for. But besides that, it was just a lot of rock bottom for a long time before I finally got here. So like it didn't start out crazy. I just started out like smoking and then weed. That was it. When I was 17, I ended up moving out like close to my 18th birthday with a guy, and we had gotten pregnant, but then I miscarried. And so that kind of just like started this whole spiral downward. I had been using weed, but once I found out that I was pregnant, I completely stopped everything. Because I wanted to be as healthy as I could be, and it wasn't hard because like I had a reason to stop. So when I found out that I had a miscarriage, like that day I started drinking, and then like every single day after that I was smoking or drinking, and eventually that just wasn't enough. And I kind of started wrecking through my life. You know, I wasn't being loyal, I wasn't, you know, being honest, and I ruined a lot of relationships with that. And then a little bit later, I found, you know, some new people to kind of run around with and got introduced to the harder drugs, like cocaine and meth. And I fell in love with those because they just completely numbed that feeling of loss. I didn't want to grieve, and I didn't allow myself to grieve because I was under the influence every single day. And then that's whenever I started, you know, not wanting to show up to work. I dropped out of college because I would be up all night long and I wouldn't want to wake up the next morning. So I started neglecting my responsibilities up until I didn't care anymore to be like a functioning adult. Like I'd already moved out, so going back to my parents' house just really wasn't something that I wanted to do. But I thought that I could make it because I had to prove myself that I could be an adult. But with this addiction, like a lot of people say, you know, you don't get addicted in one day, but I kind of think I did. 'Cause I remember the very first line I took, I was like, this is great. I'm never gonna stop doing this. That initial feeling I got was just this feeling of confidence. I've been a very shy person in the past, but it allowed me to just like open up and talk to anybody and everybody. And it was just like euphoric feeling that I had never felt before. Because the drug, like the weed and the drinking was always like a down kind of effect. And so the first time I did any kind of upper, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and I just was like the life of the party and didn't want to sleep. And I got a lot of things done. Like I would clean, I would write, I would just do all kinds of things. And so I felt like I was accomplishing more whenever, like, in reality, I was just kind of destroying everything around me. At first, when I started using, it really wasn't that much of a problem. I had a lot of money from a car wreck that I had gotten in, so I'd gotten a really big insurance check, so I was, like, pretty much set on money. But then after, like, maybe 2 or 3 months, that money was just, like, depleting and depleting and depleting. And, like, eventually I ran out of money. I blew through all of it so quickly. And then I met some other people that had the means, and so I just clung to them. And I started doing more and more. It started where I would just get like $20 worth, and that could last me a night, up until I was spending or having somebody else spend at least $175 a day in order just to get through the day. And the downfall for me, it really started spiraling. I quit my job, a really good job that I had as a manager, just because I didn't want to show up for work one day, so I quit. And then I decided I didn't need to work because, I mean, other people were paying for everything I needed, so why? And then I got another job, didn't show up a couple times, got fired, and then I didn't have a place to stay anymore. My lease had ended on my apartment, but I didn't have the money to get a new apartment. And I'd kind of burned the bridges with my family. Like, they knew better than to give me money or to provide, like, a place for me because I was just going to take advantage of it. And so there was a few nights I slept in my car. I would bounce from Motel 6 to Motel 6, you know, anywhere I could find a place to sleep, I would. And then I had a friend actually gave me her keys to her apartment, and I didn't pay rent. I told her I would, but I never did. And so then I had a place to stay, so that wasn't an excuse anymore. I thought I had, you know, everything together because I have a bed to sleep in now. But I lost, you know, all this weight because I was eating maybe once every, like, week. And that was like a package of ramen a week, and I would be full, I'd be good. I had cocaine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner most of the time. So I lose all this weight. I'm just such an untrustworthy person. Friends, like, aren't coming by easy because I run them away. And I look at my life and I have no money, no job. My family, like, they love me, but I'm not talking to them because I don't want to talk to them while I'm in the state that I'm in. I have, like, no hope of a career or a future because I just don't ever see myself getting out of this pattern of addiction that I'm in. And, yeah, I had to turn all my mirrors around. I couldn't look at myself. Like, I couldn't spend a moment sober because I hated thinking about what my life actually was. But when I wasn't sober, I had this delusion of, oh, everything's fine and everything's going to be fine and my problems will go away if I don't deal with them. But they didn't. They definitely didn't do that. I went to Christmas because I wasn't going to miss out on that. Of course, I still, like, couldn't be sober. Like, that wasn't an option for me. So I had my little stash of cocaine on me the whole time. And I have a nephew. He was like 7 months old at the time, maybe 6 months old, and I was playing with him, and my bag of coke actually fell out of my bra where I was holding it, and I didn't even notice. I carried on with my day. I went and, like, took a nap or something, and I woke up and I was getting ready to leave to go out and do what I did, and my sister was like, I need to talk to you. Like, are you missing something? And I was like, at that point, I knew, like, I had to be honest. I knew she had it because I couldn't find it. And, like, I just knew, like, I had to be honest. So I was like, yeah. And she was like, is that cocaine? And I was like, yeah, it was. And at that point, you know, she started crying and she was like, you know, if you continue to go down this lifestyle, you're never going to get to see your nephew again. You're never going to get to hold him, and you won't be a part of his life. And that was the only thing in the world that would have gotten me to, like, think about my actions and what I was doing. And then she suggested rehab, and I was like, rehab? Oh, like, that's a thing. You know, I didn't even consider that before. Like, I knew my life was completely unmanageable, but rehab was never something that I thought about. Like, I knew it was there, but I didn't. And so she asked me to go to rehab in order for me to keep that relationship with my nephew. And I agreed, you know, with no hesitation, which is, looking back, is still kind of weird for me. Even with talking to her, she was like, I thought you would have, you know, fought me on this and been like, no, I'm not going. And so I was like, yeah, I'll go. She was prepared to take me that night, but I wasn't done yet. So I needed one more night, and my family thought that I was going to take that and leave and not ever talk to them, but I really did want a relationship with my nephew, and I'm so close with him now. I'm just thankful, like, I didn't get to have my son or daughter, and so I really cherish him, and she knew that. So that's the reason why I got into rehab. That was, like, the turning point for me. I did willingly come here, but when I was coming here, and on my way here, I had no intention of stopping. My plan was to come to rehab so that my family would think, oh, I'm better, I'm sober, and then the day I get out, I'm just gonna go right back to my old friends, to my old habits, and I'm just gonna make them think I'm okay so I can still hang out and so I can still see my nephew, but I'm not done, and there's no way I'll ever be done. And coming in, I was terrified. I was still kind of like coming off of being high and drunk from the night before, and I had so much social anxiety. I was so shy. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to stay in my room and watch TV and not come out. I never thought that I would actually put work into being sober and that it would turn out good for me. I had no intention of staying sober when I got here. I think the thing that changed for me while being here was just like seeing how healthy I could be. Within like 2 weeks, I'd already gained about 15 pounds, and I was like happy. I was enjoying myself doing like small things like coloring pictures or like just talking to people. And about 2 or 3 weeks in, I kind of decided like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, I can live life and like have money in my bank account, and I can have a job. And it was these things that like seemed so unreachable during my addiction that I started to want. Like, I started wanting to go back to college, and a big thing was like talking to my family for the first time, like the second week when they came and visited me, and they were just so proud of me. And like, they were crying. They were like, we never thought, this would happen. My sister told me for the first time in about 1.5 years or 2 years, I actually feel like I'm talking to my sister. And that was just like, that hit hard for me because we had such a great relationship growing up, but I just, I didn't care. Like, I didn't talk to her. I didn't talk to my family at all. And so hearing how proud they were of me and how like the joy in their face from just knowing I was safe, just really did something for me. I've always known that I've been very loved by my family. Like, even throughout my entire addiction, my mom always was so like caring and just letting me know how much she loved me and how hard it was for her to see me going through what I was going through. But that couldn't keep me sober while I was in my addiction. I never had any doubt that they would always be there for me. Like, I knew there's nothing I could do that would run them away. But actually being able to hear, I'm proud of you, and not, are you lying to me right now, was just an amazing feeling. Because, I'm an addict, and I know that I've had addict behavior my whole life. I've always been a dishonest person. And, like, literally for the first time in my life, I would talk to my mom and just be completely honest with her. She would ask me questions that beforehand I would never tell the truth about, but it just came so easily. And it was just such a good feeling not having to have anything hidden from her, and my sister as well. It was a great feeling. At first, I did not want to talk to a therapist. I was like, I don't want to have to go through all my life and someone tell me what to do, But I had 2 therapists. My first therapist, Shay, was absolutely amazing. It's like he knew everything to say. I know that's their job and everything, but he really, really helped me through some times. Like, I was struggling really, really hard. I was having like flashbacks of just really disturbing moments, and I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, why can't I get this out of my head? And he really helped me to understand, like, it was my subconscious trying to get all this bad out. But my therapist let me know that, like, everything I was feeling was completely valid, and he helped me through it. And the advice I got was just amazing. And then about halfway through, I switched therapists. And at that point, I was like, ugh, like, I've already worked on all this stuff. I'm going to have to restate my entire story. And, like, I didn't want to do that at all. Until I started talking about things, like, I didn't really realize were affecting me. Just, like, relationships with other family members, and that was something I hadn't opened up to my previous therapist about because I didn't think it was a problem. But when I started talking, about it for the first time, it was like so much relief came. And my sister is a counselor, and so I've kind of grown up around that, and I just didn't have this great idea about like somebody trying to read me or just like thinking they know all the answers to my life that they've never lived. But I could relate to these therapists because they had been through the addiction as well. And so when somebody who's been through it is telling me I can get through it, I kind of believe them a little bit more. So I had an amazing experience. It was so easy to open up to them, and they were so genuine. Like, they actually cared about me. It wasn't just another client on the list. Like, they really got invested with my life and really cared about how I was, and that was an amazing feeling. Yeah, when I knew that I was about to leave, I was absolutely terrified. I was just so scared of like how it was gonna be in the outside, the free world. But I was also still in this like pink cloud of like, this is easy. I've got this, you know, I've been sober for this long and it's not been hard. And I had, you know, all these plans. I had my relapse prevention plan. You know, I planned on going to IOP and everything like that. And I got out and I went to my sister, started living with her. But it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, being out of rehab. I literally had no ability to use while in rehab because I'm in rehab. You know, I literally can't. But now I'm in this world where it's like, I can if I want to, but like, I'm choosing not to, and that really wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. You know, I'd spent some time here, and I thought like, oh, I'm gonna say no every time someone asks me. I'm gonna be like in this amazing mindset of sobriety rules, but it wasn't. There's still hard days today. But I just think back to like the day I came here and how I was feeling. And I don't ever want to go back to that place. And so I did have a great plan. I've been going to IOP still, so I still have my like morning groups, which is amazing. I'm glad that I didn't have to go straight from like 6 groups a day to 0. And I still have people that I can share and process with, and I have an amazing sponsor who I call every day. And just this community that I've now joined is amazing. I've made so many friends, and each day gets a little bit better. I feel very connected. Like, I've made so many genuine friends that like actually care about my well-being for no reason. Like, I walked into like my first meeting outside of rehab, and they're just like, we're here to love you, and we're gonna love you until you love yourself. And these people stepped up and they're like, here, take my phone number and call me. And if I call, they are gonna answer. And it's like, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but it's just amazing. The fellowship is absolutely incredible, and I'm so thankful for the friends that I've made, because when I first came to DPR, I had no friends. I had maybe like 1 or 2 good friends, but nobody that cared about me enough to say, you need to stop. But now I have people that are like, I can call when I'm having a craving or an urge, and they're like, look at how amazing your life is today, and really just talk me through it and help me get through it. So that's, yeah, I definitely love the fellowship that is in the recovery. When I was in my addiction, I never thought there was a possibility of getting out. I'm 20 years old, and I thought that for the rest of my life, this is what it was gonna be if I wasn't dead in 5 years or sooner than that. I never thought anything like this was possible. I thought I'd be the person that this didn't work on. But if you truly, truly want it and you're willing to work for sobriety, it will come. It absolutely will. And it might take some like really terrible moments to get you here to Discovery Point, but it is absolutely worth it. Like, the people here, the cooks, the staff, everything, they're just so caring. And whenever you think that like your life is completely over, it's literally just beginning. And that terrible chapter of your life only has to be a chapter. doesn't have to be the whole book. And that's what I've learned, and I'm so, so thankful for that.